I'm back. I'm actually making all these videos in the same night because it was, I hate when people do this. It was someone said to me, or a lot of people have been saying, like, not me thinking my phone was ringing. Oh, that if I'm like going through depression or whatever and I'm gonna have like down days, or if I'm not motivated to make videos, then I should do them in like bulk and then upload them spaced out. And like tonight I actually feel kind of like okay, you know, like I'm showered, freshly showered. I don't know if anyone notices, but my dandruff is like, I got the Selsun Blue dandruff shampoo from Amazon, and then I got a scalp massager to like loosen the flakes, and like I just feel so much better now that I don't have white stuff just dripping on my that was a really bad thing. Okay, so today, or right now, I'm just gonna, a lot of people have been asking about like how my mom passed away, and I never really wanted to share it because I didn't want to, like, I don't know, but I feel like being vulnerable and like sharing stuff that I went through could help someone, hopefully help someone, and hopefully gets like my supporters like a better understanding of me. So I'm just gonna tell the story time, and if I cry, allow me, because it is sad. So basically, when I was 16, okay, moms and daughters, or moms and their kids, or parents and their teenagers, like, you know, when you're a teenager, you're like weird, like you're young, you're, especially when you have like BPD and bipolar disorder like I do, then you're kind of all over the place, and your parents probably don't really understand it because, you know, so basically I would get into a lot of trouble. Like I would do things that like normal kids wouldn't really per se do, but I would like get into fights, or like I would yeah, I would get into fights. I would become violent with like people around me. I would, that's kind of like it actually. I wasn't actually a really bad kid. It's just like, and I had like behavior issues. Like I used to like get really angry and like throw fits and like rip out my hair and like just, you know, and like after being sexually assaulted, like I just didn't like to be touched, and like I just didn't like to be touched. And I feel like I was kind of like really distant from my mom because, you know, like parents, like when your mom, I don't know if you guys have moms like this that are really like, they love you and like they just want to like, you know, that's how my mom was. Like she always wanted to hug me, she always wanted to cuddle me when I was like feeling down, she always wanted to like touch my hair, like tell me how pretty I was, like, and I'm like please don't touch me. And like she would take it the wrong way, and like me acting out of school, I'm gonna do a story time on this after, so I'm not gonna say any details about that. She didn't understand because I'd never told her the whole story. Anyways, like we would have our fights, and I know there's like a lot of like stuff going around about how one of my ex-friends said something about how I'm so miserable today because I treated my mom like shit, and that's not true. It was just like one of those mother-daughter relationships where like we were fighting quite a bit, you know. And like I said, on top of having, like, if you have BPD and bipolar, or like either one, you know how like moody and like just kind of how you can act to things and how you can behave wrong and out of place. Anyways, that's not the point. So when I was 16, no, I was 17. The summer came around, and me and my friend, like, she was basically kind of living with me, and we would just kind of like get turned, go to parties, you know, like normal teenage stuff. I wasn't a big drinker. Like I would drink when I went out, that's about it. And I didn't really go out that much because I had strict parents who were always grounding me, taking away my phone, like taking away my TV. Like they would take off my room door when I didn't clean my room. Like I had a strict parent. And you know, like I always see kids that like used to like steal their parents' car and go on joyrides with it, and like I couldn't even imagine doing that to them because honestly they were kind of scary when they were mad. But yeah, so anyways, that's just like a bit of a backstory. So I was 17, and this is not gonna be a story time, so I will mention this. When I was younger, like really young, like grade like 1 and like maybe even kindergarten, for like a few years we had this babysitter that would like, I don't know if my mind blocked it out or if I just don't remember. I don't really remember what she would do to us or what her kids would do to us or make us do, but all I remember is that I think she ended up getting arrested, and my mom was so pissed off and upset about it that she ended up quitting her job and becoming a home daycare center where she would just have kids that she would babysit, like 5 at a time. Like they were like, the age range would be like from like little like babies to like teenagers, like whatever, whoever needed babysitting, whatever. Anyways, that's just like, so my mom would be an at-home babysitter, and this is why I'm so good with kids. Like people don't know this, but I'm actually really good with kids. Because I would help out quite a bit because she made me. But anyway, so yeah, she was like babysitting or whatever, and then she got kind of sick, and like I thought it was just like, you know, like common sickness, like flu, whatever, and I didn't really pay attention because like I didn't think anything of it, and like she would always be going to bed early, and like I don't even know what was going on. Then one night apparently she was taken to the hospital by my dad, and I was in my room, and I thought it was just like a normal thing going on. And I was visiting her in there, and she was there for quite a bit, and I was visiting her. Like I would go in there, I would sit by her side, and like we would talk. I would take pictures with her that I wish I still had now. And then my dad came home one time, and like I was left alone a lot because my dad, like my mom and dad were like first loves, like together, like literal soulmates. Like they were each other's soulmates. Like they were just like old-fashioned kind of love, like, you know, like they met in college, they fell in love, they moved in together, they had 2 kids, you know. Anyway, so my dad came home one day, and I had made a mess in the kitchen, and it was literally just crumbs on the counter, and he started freaking out on me, like going crazy. And I ended up calling my friend, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but like my dad's really upset right now, and it's just because of crumbs on the counter. Like I don't know if he's just like overreacting because he's in a bad mood, like I don't know what's going on. And then I heard my dad break down and cry, and he was just saying like how I'm just like so messy and I need to learn how to clean up after myself, but like I've never heard him cry. And like, bum cheese, don't cry, fuck, because when I cry I can't talk. Anyway, so he ended up breaking down crying, and like no one would tell me what was going on. Like I'm still there thinking like it's just blood clots in the lung. And he went back to the hospital right after that, and I was calling around to my friends, and I called him and I said that I would take the bus to the hospital so I could come see her, and he said no, like visiting hours are over, whatever. And like he was staying like every night, like every second, every day, sleeping at the hospital with her, whatever. And then she came home one day, and I was upstairs in my room, and I had a friend that lived with me, back then, because she was homeless, and or because she got kicked out and she needed somewhere to stay. So my mom and like I asked my mom if she could stay there, and she was staying with us. And then she got me downstairs, and she brought my friend downstairs too because she said that I would need someone there. She said that I would need someone there with me while I heard the news. And I was like, well, what's going on? Like, I was just like kind of like, I didn't even think of anything. I never knew what was coming. And like everyone in my family was sitting around there too, just like looking at me. And I was just kind of like, well, I'm like literally like 17, like I'm like a baby, like I don't even know, like I'm kind of like, I didn't think of the words, like I was just thinking, I don't even know what I was thinking, to be honest. And we were waiting for more family to arrive, but I kept saying like, oh, like what's going on, like you're scaring me. And then she came up to me and she sat beside me and she said, bum cheese. No, she didn't say bum cheese. She said, bum cheese. Okay, this is a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. She said that she was diagnosed with terminal cancer and she only had she said 5 months, I think. No, she said like, yeah, she said around 5 months left to live. And I was like, I thought she was joking because like what? Like, you can't die. I'm literally 17. Like, why would you be dying? And she told me she only had a few months to live, or like 6, whatever, 5. I don't remember. And that she had pancreatic cancer and it was untreatable. And I just like started bursting out crying, and she like got on her knees and she like started hugging me, and she was like saying sorry, and I was like, why are you saying sorry? And I just kind of like went upstairs to be alone with my thoughts. And I don't know. And this was during the summertime, when she started to get sick. I think it was like maybe end of July, start of August. So, which I don't really understand to this day why this was the decision that was made, but she started getting radiation treatment. And if you know how bad the side effects are at the time, it's not really something you want to watch. It's not really something you want to watch someone you love go through. And she was hooked up to pain meds a lot. Like I was about to say morphine. Like she had the morphine drip, and she was taking like a bunch of different pills a day. She was losing weight really quickly, and it was just kind of scary to see. And she stopped being able to get up the stairs, and we had a hospital bed put in the living room. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really have the best friends back then. I'll give an example. I had like this best friend at the time, and we went to a party, and I think I was on probation at the time. She wanted us to ditch a cab to get home when we could have literally just slept over and took the bus in the morning, but she insisted, and I kept saying I didn't want to do it. So we ditched a cab, and I was the one who got away, and they caught her, and then she stayed in the car, and she wouldn't stop calling down my phone. And I was like I didn't know what to do. Like, you know, like we owed them like $20 or something. We didn't have money. Like and I like went, it's actually kind of funny, like I kind of like hid behind houses and then like snuck and knocked on my other best friend's like window, because she like lived in the basement. So I like tapped on her window and like woke her up. Anyways, she hid me in her house. And the girl was like in the cab, and she was supposed to be my best friend, and I literally told her I didn't want to do it, and then she kind of like blamed it on me, told them my name, brought them to my dad's house where my dad was literally taking care of my mom, my sick, dying mom, and brought the whole police to their house, whatever. And obviously my dad's fucking furious, and I just don't, to this day, I don't really understand why she would bring all of that to my house when she, like, my dad even had to like say like, this is fucked up, like, I'm dealing with my dying like wife, like, and like the police like obviously took like, is it empathy, I don't know, and we're like, it's fine, like, just, we're not going to charge them, whatever, we understand. And he ended up just like giving them the $20, and he was furious, obviously, but anyways, that's not the point. So we had a hospital bed set up in the living room for like, I want to say a few months, but over time she would just get more and more sick. She would have radiation, she would come home weak, she'd be puking, a lot of puking. There were times when I would be sitting beside her and I'd be trying to talk to her and she didn't know who I was because she was so like highly medicated. And then school started and I transferred schools because, as I've said before, I was bullied in high school, so I had to transfer because I didn't really want to deal with that. And the people at the school that I was going to be going to were a lot nicer because I had spent the whole summer hanging out with them, and they had been like good friends to me, so I transferred. Anyway, so I'm going to school at a new school. It's hard to like go to school and try to focus on everything when you have a dying parent at home. Like the principal would always like calm me down and have me talk with the social worker and say like things like, oh, you're not going through what a normal 17-year-old would go through, like it's okay to like feel down, like if you need someone to talk to, da 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 da. And then yeah, it was just kind of hard to go to school. And then she ended up getting so sick to the point where like it was like her end time, and they brought her to a hospice care or whatever where she was going to spend her last month, not even a month, alive there. And we would go visit her. People always ask what my biggest regret is, and I think it's this. And I feel like mixed ways about opening up about this, but you know, people do deal with things in their own way. And when I was younger, like I thought crying was like a sign of weakness. I thought it was literally embarrassing and just like awkward as hell to show emotion. So like I would just like sit with my mom and like I wouldn't cry or anything, and like if I felt like I had to cry I would just look away. I didn't really like I didn't really process what was even going on sometimes until I ended up getting drunk, and I would just like cry when I was drunk or like cut myself or whatever. It would make my dad mad, and he would tell me that I shouldn't be drinking if I'm depressed. And so she ended up going to the hospice care. Like people come and visit her all the time. You know, like every day someone was by her bed. My dad, again, spent every night there, every second that he could there, taking care of her, whatever needed to be done. He would come and get me and bring me there. He would come and get my brother and bring him there. Like he would just like transport us back and forth because it was kind of like out quite a way from where we lived, and you couldn't take a bus there. And you couldn't take a bus there. Anyway, so back to the biggest regret part. Basically, people deal with these things in their own way. Like I said, like I just finished saying, like I wasn't good at showing emotion. I thought that it made you, I don't know, like still people to this day think that showing emotion and being vulnerable and crying and all that is just like weak and a weakness, and like you need to like always be on top of your shit and show no emotion, and like it's weird to show emotion. You always have to seem like you're winning. And I just like now I think that's so stupid. Like if you want to cry, let it out, because if you're gonna keep all that shit bottled up, you're gonna end up exploding one day. Anyway, so while she was like sick or whatever, I was partying a lot. Only on the weekends though, because I was in school. But like I was partying on the weekends a lot, and like my dad asked me one night if I wanted to spend the night with her, and I said no because I didn't think I could handle it. Like when I was younger, actually, my parents made me skip a lot of funerals because they knew that I was not mentally well enough to see it. Anyways, but yeah, so my biggest regret, for anyone who asked, is that I should have spent more time with her while I could, instead of going out and partying and drinking away my feelings and pretending sometimes like it wasn't going on. So one day I was at school and my aunt came to pick me up, and she was like, you need to leave school now and meet me in the parking lot. She's like, we have to go. And I was like, what's going on? Like no one telling me what's going on. And we get there, and apparently she had fallen asleep and didn't wake up, or wasn't waking up, but then she woke up. Like they thought that was gonna be her last time. And then I was sleeping one day, because like I mentioned, I like to sleep a lot when I'm depressed. So I was sleeping one day, and my dad came home, and he came in the room, and he like got down on his knees beside the bed, because it was like kind of like, it was an air mattress on the floor that I was sleeping on in the guest room, because I couldn't be in my room for some reason. But anyways, he said, he was like, your mom passed away. And I said, when? And he was like, 5 o'clock today. And then the next few days were like really hectic. I spent the whole night that night listening to What Now by Rihanna, and Stay by Rihanna, and Say Something by, I don't know. But I was just like blasting that shit in my ears all night, bawling my eyes out. And then we had the funeral, and my friends kept asking why I wasn't crying. Like not asking me directly, they were asking my other friends like, why isn't she crying? Like why isn't she showing emotion? Like why doesn't she look sad? And it was literally because of what I said already. And then as soon as we had to like walk with the casket, like I just started breaking down. And like my family was all hugging me, and like they were like, oh, like your mom always talks so highly of you, she was so proud of you for going back to school. Because like, as I said before, like I had to drop out of school temporarily because of my anxiety. And then, well, her family's in Newfoundland, so my dad had to fly out there and have a funeral in Kitchener where we lived, and then a funeral out there. And she wanted to be buried out there, which is why I never really post me visiting her or the tombstone or anything, or me like there. So I don't visit her because I can't, because it's in Newfoundland. Oh, this is the last part of the story. This isn't really like, I just feel like this is really something that still bothers me to this day. When you lose someone, I think you're allowed you're allowed a certain amount of weeks or days to be at home to grieve. And everyone in my family, because I wasn't showing emotion, thought that I didn't have any feelings towards it. So they told me that I had to go to school, and they didn't really let me take time off. Like literally after like not even a whole week, they told me I had to go back. And I ended up skipping more than what they wanted me to. But I did go back well before the time that I was even supposed to, or like well before the time that it says that I'm allowed to take off. And the principal, who was so supportive before, brought me to the office, and he was like, oh, like, why haven't you been here? You've been skipping a lot. We haven't seen you around. You haven't been to your classes. And I was like, my mom just died. And he was like, okay. And he like literally said, everyone dies. Like, everyone's gonna die someday. And I was just like, I was just so in shock, because why? How could you say that to me? And then he started talking about how like, oh, like his dad died like a couple years ago or something. And I'm like, anyways, that's the end of the video. Bye, guys. Wait, I feel like I don't. That's such a weird way to end it.